Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blank Gates. Welcome to Arrowhead, the coolest app in the world, and stuff. Well, let's see if we can get this thing working today. So I just after I logged off, it was kind of weird. I just like, so I log off, right? Because I had a meeting. And then once the meeting, just before the meeting starts, dang it. So you can't see my, let's see, how are we going to do this? Maybe there's another way to do it. Let's go back to the quilt. Can you see the quilt? One, can you see the quilt? Wow, actually, you can't see the quilt either. Now, what happens if I bring it over to... Man, it is not happy. If we do the window, I can do the window. The problem with the window... Just checking myself out here. Okay, now it's showing that window. 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 Are we still in the same thing? Wow, it crashed. So it actually crashed, and then I don't even know what's happening anymore. I can see that the numbers are going. Let me just check the window. Okay, we got it going. All right, so the audio's check. Now I want the ChatGPT not the ChatGPT, the Google Gemini window to work. It's not working. What about if I do this one? The other idea I have is I could come over here. Can I hear my voice? Okay. So I'm gonna start. Now, last time it did work actually. So what I did was I just I shared this window. Remember when that happened? And it went crazy. And like it's doing right now, it's going crazy. And then next, I shared it like this, and it worked. All right. And then I shared it, and mysteriously it works. That is wild. Now, the number one thing that we need to, the most important thing I want to know right now is so in my last video, we were just ending with the update from Replete. Yeah, so this is the code from Replete. We were waiting for that Replete code to come through. So I uploaded the Replete code, the Replit code, and I was surprised to find this.
Okay, I have the updated code for objective from Replit. Review of Replit's updated objective, Task E4.1. Replit's implementation for Task E4.1 is excellent and successfully incorporates the Architect AI's guidelines. It's well aligned with the core functionalities of Cursor's gold standard. Key successes. Module instance ID handling. The module instance ID state is correctly added and updated.
I don't want to read this whole thing. So we got the conditional link to storyboard. We got the link is thoughtfully placed in the header next to the objective title. We got the save payload. We got the back navigation. Replete's code is confirmed as complete and aligned. We're now waiting for the updated code from Windsurf. And then, okay, so then I sent the updated code from Windsurf. Apparently, it was a lot of updated code. Okay, I have Windsurf's newly updated code for objective page. Review of Windsurf's corrected code. Okay, it's done. It's done. It's done. With these crucial adjustments, Windsurf's implementation of task E41 is now correctly aligned with our API requirements and core logic of Cursor's gold standard and conditional view scoreboard link should now function as intended. I'm kind of curious, like, does it actually function? You know, we haven't even looked at any of this code. Where's the Windsurf page? So it's in browser 301. This is the actual Windsurf app. Is there an actual link? Can I click the link and see the navigation? These changes should ensure the component correctly interacts with your API both for loading and saving and display the view scoreboard link. So I'm just writing in Windsurf. I'm saying, what do I click to see that page? I'm kind of curious. You know, we've been doing this for so long. And also, the other thing is, if we check out Windsurf's, like my subscription, I think today is the day when I run out of credits. April 25th. Okay, so we got another day or two. Projects. But I have to have your project ID. Now, so I'm signed in as this test user. I'm just gonna do a screenshot. Maybe I'll just show you my whole screen because it's kind of pointless. We're not really listening to the audio, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so here's the page for Windsurf. I asked it to show me the thing. All right, so then I'm just going to upload this image. I'm writing, this is the only page that I see. If I'm signed up with this user already, wouldn't I be able to see other pages? Now, if I have the page address, I don't have a project. So did you already design the project page? I haven't specifically designed a general project page like the dashboard that lists all your projects or create new ones. In our recent interactions, we've been focused on individual modules like objective page and scoreboard. Application requirements from the memory do not mention a projects table or auto creation of projects. Huh. All right, so we still can't see nothing, which is fine. I don't care. All right. Now, so the objectives module page to its scoreboard is now complete. According to your active sprint operations document, the completion of these objectives signifies the end of the development work plan for sprint 3. Next, we need to conduct a sprint 3 review. All right, so this is the thing. Okay, so if we want to conduct a sprint 3 review, the purpose of the sprint 3 review would be to figure out what we learned in the process of creating all of the software and code and development related to sprint 3, and then to go back into our original 5 documents and find very specific areas of each and every one of the documents and clearly explain what we're going to do regarding if some amount of information should be edited or added to those documents. We want to maintain only those 5 documents. And so after doing the sprint 3 review, then we will want to figure out how our sprint 3 review will fit into our current set of documentation, and then also how we will need to change our current set of documentation in order to prepare for sprint 4. I don't plan to create a new instance, a new AI instance, meaning I don't plan to create a new liaison or a new architect right now. So all we really want to do is we want to update those documents and be aware of those updates and then continue with sprint 4. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we have a current set of documentation so that if we decide to create a new liaison, then it would be able to continue on with the project with our current set of documentation. All right, maybe I'll pop you into this one. Ah, it didn't work. And it's so crazy. I don't know why it just never works like this. Now, what happens if I choose another window? So what I noticed is if I share this window, which is actually me sharing my window with myself with the live video, and then I just over to this window. Yeah, it worked. Nice. Okay. All right. It's a little bit annoying because it uses these exact names of like coding elements.
Okay, I understand your plan perfectly. This is a very effective and structured approach to ensure our core documentation remains a living, accurate reflection of the project state and our evolving processes. The goal is to integrate the learnings from Sprint 3 directly into the 5 key documents to maintain their currency and prepare for Sprint 4, ensuring continuity even if new AI instances were to be onboarded later. Here's how I suggest we can proceed with this Sprint 3 review and document update process, with me acting as your liaison AI to facilitate. Phase 1. Identify key learnings and insights from Sprint 3. Before we can decide what to edit in the documents, we need to list out what we've learned during Sprint 3. I can help recall some of the key activities and challenges we navigated. Objective module and scoreboard backend. Tasks D1, E1.1, E2.1. Implementation of POST, GET APIS for the objective module. Logic for seeding scoreboard task records from objective steps. Creation of the API to fetch these tasks. Standardization of Objective Content Schema, KD004. Standardization of Scoreboard Task. Module Instance ID, KD007. Implementation and refinement of jest tests for these API routes, including specific mocking strategies, KD005. Use of its Superbase, SSR, KD003. Scoreboard page front-end, tasks E3.1, E3.2 read-only display. Initial creation of the scoreboard by 3 different ASH. The lead, AI, gold standard, workflow, cursor as lead, proved essential.
All right. All right. So now we're just going to take this. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Now we're going to copy. I'm going to hop over to the page. I'm going to paste it in the architect. See what the architect has to say. As architect, I agree that integrating our learning directly into the core documentation is the most effective way to conduct this review and ensure that our operational framework and project understanding evolve. The goal of maintaining currency for continuity, especially for potential new AI instances, is well understood and supported. Liaison AI has provided an excellent comprehensive list of learnings from Sprint 3. From an architectural perspective, many of these points touch upon crucial aspects of maintaining design integrity and efficient collaboration. To contribute to step 1, consolidated learning from Sprint 3, here are the points I would particularly add or emphasize as critical from an architectural standpoint, which should inform our documentation updates. The imperative of proactive definition for critical interfaces and naming convention. Learning. The standardization of scoreboard task module instant 007 was a successful corrective action. However, the deeper learning is that the architectural need to proactively define such critical elements, foreign keys, relation names, core data, contracts, API endpoint structures, before parallel implementation by multiple AI IDEs begins. This minimizes rework and ensures consistency from the outset. Impact. The team operations manual. Collaborative refinement. Potentially adding more specifically to data module signature. Okay. Collaborative refinement cycle. The data schema design. Learning. The evolution of the object content schema, where an initial AI suggestion was reviewed and simplified by the architectural oversight for robustness and maintainability represents a key positive workflow. Team operational manual. Describing this interaction pattern between architect and liaison, best practice for schema development. Strategic application for lead AI gold standard architectural elements. The workflow was highly effective for the UI and associated data handling. The learning is to consider applying this workflow even more rigorously and earlier in the task involving schema modifications and the establishment of new shared data contracts to prevent initial divergence. Team operations manual. Formalizing gold standard dissemination process. Successfully aligning Replete, Windsurf, and Cursor's gold standard for the scoreboard page involved specific actions by Liaison AI to provide that code. The process of how the gold standard, once achieved by the lead AI, is documented, packaged, and then prescriptively given to other AIs needs to be explicit. Impact. Team operations manual. Ensure AI comprehension of existing system components before modification. Instances where an AI might misunderstand existing API structures or component contracts, as noted with Windsurf, highlight the need for prompts to be exceptionally clear when asking an AI to modify or extend existing parts of the system. This may involve providing the current code snippet or interface definition directly within the prompt. Team operation manual. Reinforce the key decisions log. Team operations manual. All right. Good. So we just copy that, jump back over to liaison. Oh, I didn't go over. All right, I already copied and pasted. So I just put from architect, and then I put the whole project manager thing. Okay, architect AI's input is excellent and adds significant architectural perspective to our Sprint 3 learnings. This collaborative approach to identifying insights is exactly what we need. Now we have a rich set of observations. Let's consolidate these into a unified list of key learnings from Sprint 3. This list will then guide us into phase 2, where we'll map each learning to specific updates in our 5 core documents. All right, so it's asking for architect's advice. Yeah, so this is the same thing. I mean, it's there. What's the difference between and like copy and paste between liaison and like cursor and windsurf, or copy between the architect and liaison? There's really not a lot of difference. The point is, I'm a project manager, and I recognize that my team is much more talented than I am. And like, in addition, hold on. Thank you for consulting key learnings from Sprint 3. Here's 3 categories. No significant additions. All right, so then we'll map the learning. Now, remember last time I did this, there were 2 problems. First problem was it kept adding more and more documents, and I'm not happy with that approach. I'm now satisfied with the 5 document foundation for this process. All right, so here's the changes to documents. I mean, like, why am I going to put my, I don't have an opinion. I could see that it's starting with the first 3 documents. Now I'm guessing that it's also going to upload the other ones. It's going to change the other documents later. I believe option 1 is foundational and should be adopted to clearly establish this. Option 2, complementary. All right. All right, so give me the full and complete text in markdown form, and I'll delete the current documents and upload the new version. Print one first, and I'll reply. Saved. Then print the next. Once complete, move to the next step. All right. Now, if we go into here, it's saying that it wants to update the team operations manual. Here's the team. Now, if I copy the other screen, well, it's still doing it. All right, so this goes back to my question from the last video, which is, now that we have updated documents, let's say the context window, let's say we get past we use the full 1 million token context window. Now, if I just upload the documents again, then I mean that the documents are now at the beginning of the new context window. All right, I'm just curious. I'm usually curious because let's just look at the last couple sentences. It says general formatting, naming conventions. So we're going to select everything. We're going to paste. So it makes the document a little bit longer. I don't know, did something change? Now we're on page 11. Now, the other thing you can do is, all right, so this is the old version, right? This is 1.0. Then you can go over to version history. You can name the current version as 1.0. And then this one is version 1.1. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, now I'm not going to scroll up because there we go. Now I can scroll up. Okay, what is this document? Copy. This is the project blueprint. Okay, the team operations manual is finished. This one is the project blueprint. Which one is the project? So this is the first one. It's called project blueprint. Our version is version 1.1. Select all. How many pages is it? 12 pages. And now it is still 12 pages. And then save this as version 1.2. What? Once confirmed, I can provide the full text of the team operations manual. What are you talking about, team operations manual? Oh, what just happened? I thought the first one was... I thought we already updated the operations manual. And then we updated the blueprint. So it's one section. Copy this code. Iterative refinement, lessons, best practices. Team operations. What was it called? It was called iterative refinement. And then it has lessons. It has best practice. So it's saying it wants me to KD04. It wants me to replace it with this text. Does this capture the best practices? Is this in 4.2 appropriate? Does architect have any modification for post text? Yes, it looks perfect. You've correctly integrated the enhanced. This revised section now clearly captures Learning 2. So specific update for Learning 2 collaborative refinement is to replace the entire section of 4.2. I'm ready to provide the full and complete text for the... Okay. Now, sorry, I got the wrong... So I made the change, and it still wants to give me a complete, like the complete text for everything. Whatever. many parts is there? 5 parts. I mean, I probably could have just said no. It's like, I don't know. What's the difference? I already updated it. It's using a huge amount of tokens when I do this. Okay, so I don't know. Copy this. And now what? This is, which doesn't actually make any difference. Let's go to the very end. Let's go to the very last line. It literally didn't change anything. All right. Version 1.2. Okay. What is this? Yeah, like, I don't, do we need to keep doing this? So this is, I guess you could say this is the safe method, because what it's doing is like, it's updating it one little step at a time with each of the learnings. But every time it has the learning, it has to it's producing the entire full document again. All right. These are excellent proposed updates. Let's review the proposals. Minor suggestions. Minor suggestions. Overall. Good. So I like this, that the architect is providing some minor suggestions. And overall, the proposed change very effectively emphasize the importance of robust testing strategies and clearly define Liaison's AI role in guiding their implementation according to the established standards. Placement of these changes is perfectly suitable. These updates will make their team operations manual more comprehensive. Yeah, I noticed suddenly, I just realized we didn't do any testing. What was that? I think this is for section 5. Okay. Learning 6. I think it's really amazing that it has the ability to maintain this document in the back end. And then once we made all the changes, it'll just produce this document. See, it's like quilt making or knitting. And once you get used to the rhythm, it makes more and more complicated designs. Frick, how many learnings are there? Oh, that's like when you're doing some knitting, or you're working on one of those quilting machines, and you get stabbed in the finger because you're starting to go too fast. I'm starting to get bored with this learnings. Let's get architect in there. The current one-by-one approach for learning has been very effective. It allows us to give us focused attention. However, I'm flexible. Let's see what laser. Ah, did it finish learning number 10? All right. Anyways. Just prick my finger again. This is like a moment in time. This is a moment in human history. Quilt these exchanges between liaison and architect, and between liaison and the IDEs. And Gemini and Notion and Google Drive. All right, so here's Project Blueprint. So I'm going to paste a copy of the blueprint in Architect. That way it gets another set of eyes on it. It also gives Architect the latest update. And then I don't have to create a new instance of the Architect, because it's got its 1 million token context window. So why not just give it the update rather than creating a whole new instance? Also, let's say that we finish sprint 4. And during the process, before we get to the end of sprint 4, we have to make some updates to the documents. And then after we finish updating the documents, now the reason that we have to update the documents is because liaison reaches the end of its context window. All right, so we're using liaison to update the documents because it's used up its context window. In that case, Architect all right, where's the team operations manual? How much different is it going to be? This is page 12 and bleeding onto page 13. Wow. Now we're on page 14. Anyways, it doesn't matter. This is 1.2. All right. Now, by now, we should have the text for the next one. Team operations manual regarding the project blueprint. What the heck just happened? I updated the team operations manual. Yes. Regarding the project blueprint document 1, as we discussed, the only change for this document was the addition of section 4. I provided you with full text of the project blueprint, which I labeled, including that single update as you confirmed saved at that time. Therefore, unless there's other pending changes for the project blueprint we haven't discussed, it should already be its final updated state. This concludes the Sprint 3 review and document update process. We have identified and consolidated learnings from Sprint 3. You now have the key document incorporated in all Sprint 3 learnings. Are common document. Yes. If key decisions decisions. If the key decisions doc needs updating, provide the new text in full. Then we need to edit the remaining 2 docs to put the Sprint 3 review into the sprint review doc and update the active sprint doc to show our progress and next steps for sprint 4. Hello, Gordon. All right. We'll bring it over to the architect window. Okay, so the key decisions document is currently up to date. All right. So we need to update our current operations doc. Let me just show you. So we finished updating our project blueprint doc. See if we click it. Well, we don't need to click it because I already have it open. Print doc. Now, if somehow I missed a little thing here or there, it's not a big deal. Because by the time we're going to be updating for sprint number 4, like some minor details, it's like, okay, whatever, fine, you know. And then operations manual is also updated. So those are these 2 documents. Then key decisions log, they decided not to update that. Now, so the name, because it says active sprint operations, and then it says we're doing sprint 3, which means the actual name of this document is now going to change. Yes. All right, so I'm curious about this. So sprint 3. Should you maintain the learnings from previous sprints in the same doc? So we're changing the title for doc 5, but keep the content and add the new content from sprint 3, perhaps some adjustments to the current text and then to align with the new changes. Doc 5's title would change to sprint from sprint root, something like project sprint reviews log. It would retain the existing content of sprint 2 review. The sprint 3 review content would be drafted, added to the new section with the same doc. Future sprint reviews would similarly be appended. Adjustment. This might make minor format adjustments. If this understanding is correct, I agree. All right, I just want to make a quick chat with Architect so it understands what we're doing. Now, Architect, it doesn't have the full document. The other two documents that we adjusted, it doesn't. Yeah. Of course it agrees. And then it just gives it a little of structure, as a good architect should do. This also reduces the load on my brain, because the thing is that, like, there's a lot of little decisions you have to make. What should it be called? Should it look like this? Should it look like that? And it's like, I don't want to make these decisions. Because if you have to make all these decisions, eventually you just get tired of making decisions. And then you get tired of doing the work. Then you want to go do something else. And there. All right. Just that we add a copy to Architect. And now we need to open, is it active sprint operation? No, it's a sprint review document. Review document. Really quickly. Overall, it's good, new, good, okay, fine. Yeah, exactly. So now it's using the updated version. Exactly what I wanted it to do. This is I don't know, what's the next version? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to update the name. And we're going to give it a version history. Excuse me. Done. Fantastic. Now let's see what's going on. Now, I don't know what this document really looks like. if we open up the sprint doc, current plan for sprint 3, all the tasks in sprint 3. Yeah. Okay. Now, how do we do this? Oh, here's the text from liaison for the final document update. I also want this doc to give instructions for the testing at the end, and also the document review process and document updating process, so that this document will bring us to this point where we are now, where we have a full set of documents and we're ready to kick off the next sprint. It seems I don't remember any testing during sprint 3, and also we made a lot of decisions about the process of updating documents, and I want the sprint document to carry us through all of these processes and kick off the next sprint. Here's the liaison's text. Yeah, it has everything in it. All right, let me check if I got a meeting. I do not have another meeting. Good. I got 4 more meetings today, but my regular morning meetings today are minimal. I had 2 meetings so far today, and now I got a little bit extra time, so I got to do my French video. And I got to watch that French. I got to watch a French educational video, and then I got to make my French YouTube video. You want to hear this? We haven't heard the voice yet. We haven't heard a voice for a while. Let's hear what it say with its own voice as we're going to end this sprint. Unless it messes up.
Okay, project manager, I understand. You want to ensure that the active sprint operations document for sprint 4, doc 4, not only outlines the development plan but also explicitly guides us through the end of sprint activities, including final testing and the document review, update process, mirroring the thoroughness we've just completed for sprint 3.
Yes.
This is an excellent way to ensure these crucial meta processes become a standard part of our rhythm. The draft for parts 1 and 2 of the new Doc 4 provided by the Liaison AI is a solid foundation for the Sprint 4 plan. To incorporate your requirements, I propose we add a new section to Part 1, Current Sprint Plan, Sprint 4. This new section will detail the end of sprint protocols. Here's the proposed addition. Proposed addition to Doc 4, Part 1, after Section 1.4. 1.5. Sprint 4 Completion Protocol, Final Testing, Review, and Documentation Update. Upon the apparent completion of all development tasks listed in Section 1.3, the following protocol will be initiated to formally conclude Sprint 4 and prepare for Sprint 5. This ensures that features are robustly tested and that all learnings are integrated into our core project documentation. 1.5.1. Final Sprint Testing Phase. Objective: to verify that all functionalities developed in Sprint 4, Scoreboard CRUD, TouchBase module, and their interactions, are working as expected, are integrated correctly, and meet quality standards. Scope: backend API testing. Ensure all new and modified API endpoints, tasks F1.1, F1.2, F1.3, G1.1, G1.2, have comprehensive automated tests, JEST, adhering to KD005, that are passing in all relevant environments. Front-end UI, UX testing. The project manager will conduct thorough user interface and user experience testing of the scoreboard page's CRUD functionalities,
Finally,
tasks F2.1-F2.4, and the TouchBase module's interface and linking, tasks G2.1-G3.2, G4.1. This includes testing for usability, correct data display, state updates, and error handling. Integration testing. Verify the end-to-end flow from objective creation, Sprint 3, to scoreboard task generation, Sprint 3, to scoreboard task management, CRUD in Sprint 4, to TouchBase reflection and linking back to scoreboard, Sprint 4. User acceptance testing, UAT. The project manager will perform UAT to confirm that the completed Sprint 4 features meet the defined goals and acceptance criteria. Roles: project manager leads UAT, performs UI, UX testing, and provides final approval on feature completion. Liaison AI assists the PM in UAT by clarifying functionalities, guides AI, IDEs if minor test script adjustments or specific data setups are needed for testing, and helps troubleshoot any identified issues. Architect AI may review test coverage for critical architectural components and ensure integrity points are validated. Bug fixing. A dedicated period will be allocated for addressing any critical or high-priority bugs identified during this final testing phase. 1.5.2. Sprint 4 Review and Learnings Consolidation. Objective: to systematically review the execution of Sprint 4, identify key accomplishments, challenges overcome, and extract valuable learnings. Process: 1. Once final testing is complete and features are accepted, the project manager will initiate a Sprint 4 review. 2. The project manager, architect AI, and liaison AI will collaborate, similar to the Sprint 3 review process, to document what was completed against the Sprint 4 goals, discuss any blockers encountered and their resolutions, identify significant positive learnings, pain points, and potential process improvements experienced during Sprint 4. 3. These insights will be consolidated into a list of key learnings from Sprint 4. 1.5.3. Core Documentation Update Cycle, Post-Sprint 4 Review. Objective: to ensure all 5 core project documents are updated to reflect the outcomes, decisions, and process refinements identified during Sprint 4. Process: 1. Map learnings to documents. The project manager, with input from architect AI and liaison AI, will map each key learning from Sprint 4 inches to specific required updates in Project Blueprint, Doc 1, Team Operations Manual, Doc 2, Key Decisions Log, Doc 3, if any new KDs were made or existing ones amended during Sprint 4. 2. Draft and approve changes. Proposed textual changes for these documents will be drafted and reviewed. 3. Update core documents. Once changes are agreed upon, the affected documents will be updated, versioned appropriately, e.g., to version 1.3 if they were version 1.2, and confirmed as the new authoritative versions. 4. Update project sprint reviews log, cumulative, Doc 5. A new Sprint 4 review section will be added to Doc 5. This section will summarize Sprint 4's outcomes and explicitly state that the learnings have been integrated into the other core documents, referencing their new versions. 5. Prepare active sprint operations for Sprint 5, Doc 4. A new Doc 4 will be drafted for Sprint 5, outlining its plan and incorporating any relevant process notes. 1.5.4 Sprint 4 completion criteria. Sprint 4 will be considered complete when all planned development tasks, objectives F and G, are implemented. The final sprint testing phase, 1.5.1, is concluded, and all critical, high bugs are resolved. The Sprint 4 review and learnings consolidation, 1.5.2, is done. The core documentation update cycle, 1.5.3, is completed, resulting in updated versions of relevant core documents. The active sprint operations document for Sprint 5 is drafted and ready. Location of this edition. This new section, 1.5. Sprint 4.
Okay. Perfect. I like it. All right. The sprint content here. And now it's gonna give us an update to the markdown file. Right. Why does it call this document 4? So it gives you the active sprint. And then after it finishes giving you the active sprint document, then it gives you the review. But when you're updating the files, you update the review first. There you go. Here's the completion criteria. These updated documents now includes this. We're now fully prepared to begin sprint number 4. Right, so just didn't show the right screen. All right, so I'm going to copy this for sprint 4. It replaces this document. Select all, paste, go to the top, remove that, change that. Now I don't really need versions for this, I guess, because I don't know. I guess I should call this sprint 4. There. That's all she wrote. So I'm going to share my whole screen again. And I'm going to put this one back in here. I'm going to remove this quilt and GPTs. So this number 4 has been updated. Number 5 has been updated. Number 1 has been updated. Number 2 has been updated. And then remember number 3 wasn't updated. So I'm going to refresh this window. When I refresh it, it should change this to sprint 4. It should change this to sprint 3. All right, I'm just going to open up these windows. They changed it. Now it's called sprint review log. Anyways, let's refresh it one more time. Is there a way to refresh it? Well, anyways, it's not going to do it right now. This is sprint 4. This is the cumulative logs. This is not doing what it wanted to do. Okay, anyways, I don't care. Now, Architect is ready. So let's just pass that over to Architect. It doesn't have the completed document, so we're just going to pass this last screen over to Architect. Now, we haven't got any alerts. Remember from our old documentation that when our first prompt, it says, when we reach the 1 million context window, then I want you to send me an alert. So we haven't got an alert yet, which means in both the Architect and Liaison, we can continue to work with them. They're not going to have any problems with the context window. Our environment, our cursor window, and our windsurf window is open and operational. Our replete window is open and operational. Let's just check up with Project Manager is updated and incorporated. It comprehensive, it's saved with all 5 core documents reviewed and updated and reflect the outcome and learning from Sprint 3. I agree, we're fully prepared to begin Sprint 4. I'm going to take this, going to copy this. We're going to pop that into Liaison. And this is the official Sprint 4 launch party. No, it's not the official launch. Okay, excellent. I've updated this. All core documents are done. I agree with Arc. We're now fully prepared and well positioned to begin Sprint 4. As per our newly updated this, looking at the task list for Sprint 4, we need to do this from logical flow. This is that. This is this. How would you like to proceed? All right, so I'm just going to end this video, and then I'm going to start the new one for the launch.